Hi, hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Amy Prokopis. I am an author of young adult novels such as The Arena and Guardians of the Six Gates. Welcome back to those of you who have been watching these videos. If you are new, welcome to the crew. So you could probably guess from today's video title, this is like my entire recap of all of my goals from October 2022. So we're going to talk about how much I wrote. We're going to talk about all the things that I read, running, and my plans for November for this next month. So stay tuned. We are going to get into all of those things right now. So let's talk about reading first. So I read 2 books in October. They're vastly different books also. One of the books I read, and the first one I read, is this, which is House of Lies and Sorrow by Emily Blackwood. She blew up on TikTok the last few months, so much so that she has been able to quit her job and write full time. This is not her first book. This is her second series, I believe. So this is similar to A Court of Thorns and Roses. It involves Jade, this girl who is being married off to the Fae Prince, who's kind of known for being like this dark, mysterious Fae Prince, and all of his wives die. So she is one of many of the wives, and she gets there and survives longer than expected. And they learn as they go that there's sort of like this inner conspiracy against the Fae Prince, and they're trying to figure out who it is that is offing all the wives. So it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. So if that sounds interesting to you, you can find this book on Amazon. Emily is super active on especially TikTok. She posts several times a day, and she's really fun to chat with. So also go and look her up there. See if you could get a conversation going. She's amazing. The other book that I read this month and absolutely adored, I think it might be my favorite of the year, is The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. First off, let's just appreciate how absolutely beautiful this cover is. Oh my gosh, whoever designed this is a genius. It is beautiful. So this is a romance, and basically this girl, she works for kind of like an undercover bodyguard business. That's what they do. They provide security for people whose lives are at risk. Usually it's just a bunch of businessmen and oil tycoons, but due to a family, not really a family, I guess it's a family tragedy. This guy over here, Stapleton, his mother has cancer, and so he's moved back home to kind of like help her out and to be a part of the family at her request. The only thing is that he is a mega movie star, and he has a couple stalkers, so he's supposed to be low risk, and so they assign her to be his bodyguard, and they pretend to be in a relationship, and of course things kind of just continue from there. It was wonderful. I really, really liked this book so much. Catherine Center is also super nice. I shouted her out on my Instagram a couple times, and she responded back, and we had some conversations. She's lovely. But this might be my favorite book of the year so far, just because it's a fluffy romance, but the writing is really punchy. Oh, it's so fun. And all of these characters are so witty and had me cracking up the whole time. I really, really liked this book. So those are the 2 books that I read in October. And usually I read 3 books, but 2, this month was pretty good of a reading month compared to the last few, and considering how busy I was. So I'm pretty happy with the amount of reading I was able to get done. Writing was, super successful for a couple obvious reasons. I published my second ever book, the first in a new series, Guardians of the Six Gates, It is a fantasy romance. If you really liked books like Twilight, if you like The Vampire Diaries, Supernatural, then you will love Guardians of the Sixth Gate. It is the first in a series of 3 books. I do have some like spin-offs planned, some like other related series, kind of within the same world and like kind of the same magic system. So super exciting. I am so pleased with the response I've gotten from all of you. Thank you so much. If you've reviewed the book and you've reached out to me and shared it with friends, it means a whole lot. But besides publishing that book in October, I also finished writing the second one. So this is draft 1 of the second book in the series. I finished writing it. I'm letting it sit. And what I'll do next is I'll come back to it and I'm going to read it in as close to one sitting as I can to try and mimic what reading a book is like as a reader, not as the author of the book. And then I'll go through and start making some edits and adjustments from there. And sometimes I repeat some of that process depending on how much work a particular book needs. I am really happy with how the first draft came out though. There are some things that are a little messy. I feel like I might end up adding some scenes in places. And I'm worried that some of the weight of this book falls a little too much on the romance than it does the plot of the overall story. So I think I'm gonna have to insert scenes to make the plot more prominent and present. I don't want to remove anything from the romance side because I think it adds a lot to the characters that are involved. And the second book is where I introduce a character that I plan to write one of those spin-off series for. Love that character so much. I'm not going to give away who that person is. Once you guys read book 2, I think you probably have a good idea who to guess that might be. But for now, I'm just going to leave it at that. And so that's what I did in October. A lot of stuff. I was super busy at work. And then all of the publishing the book and finishing the draft took up so much of my time that I'm still exhausted. I'm still recovering. But I am really happy with everything that I got done writing-wise for the month of October. Last but not least is my running for the month of October. So in October, I did a challenge because I haven't been running very consistently and I really miss that. I love running so much and it's really good for my mental health. That is actually one of the best things I do for my mental health. It's also really good for me physically and clears my mind and keeps me fit. And I just haven't quite been able to figure out how to fit it in my schedule with how busy work has been. It's just been different this year. So I dedicated the month of October to getting back into running, but to make it easier to transition into it, rather than going straight into my usual distance running schedule, I challenged myself to try and run and train for my fastest ever mile. I have a whole video that's coming on that project, my fastest mile. Really fun. I am excited to share all the numbers and data with you guys, but just know that for the month of October, I ran a lot. I ran 27.1 miles total across the whole month. I was consistently running about 2 5Ks a week, which is really good. That's usually on the low end for me, but considering that was a consistent end, I feel good with my stamina and where my fitness level is now. So I'm super glad I was able to get back into that at the end of October when things got really busy because we had our yearly Prokopis Halloween party and we also had some projects at work going on and then just Halloween in general with the family. That slowed me up a lot for running. Running was the first thing that kind of went off the table as far as consistency went, in favor of trying to take more time for myself, relax, make sure I'm getting enough sleep, which is something I was not doing for the last couple of weeks. So, yes, I ran 27.1 miles. I feel really strong and I'm really happy with the way that experiment went. So you guys will see the results of that super soon. So be on the lookout for that on my YouTube channel. Turn on the bell if that interests you a whole lot and you want to be notified when that video comes out. Reading plans for this next month. I highly doubt I'll get to all of these books, but I did organize my TBR list sort of by what I think I would be able to get to at the earliest time. So I am currently reading Dreaming About the Boy Next Door, which is Sarah Sutton's newest book. I've read just about everything on her backlist. The only thing I haven't read is the Christmas book because I'm planning to read that at Christmas time. So I am finishing up this one. I'm not super far into it, but I'm loving it so far. This is actually, I think it feels really strong. This might be my favorite of hers so far. So I'm finishing up this book, and then my plan, at the recommendation of my local bookstore, I'm going to read The House in the Cerulean Sea. I've heard really good things about this. I've wanted to get to it for so long and just haven't gotten around to it. It's not my normal-ish thing, but I hear it is such a good book that I am planning on reading this immediately after finishing Dreaming About the Boy Next Door because I hear it's such a quick read. So that is the next book up on the agenda. And the next ones, I have them organized. Let me reorganize these. I think because this is a series and I want to devour the series, I will probably read Dracula next. I thought since we will probably be on break from the school schedule, that I would probably have the time to sit down and really devote to Dracula and read it. I've read pieces of it. Of course, I know the story. I think everybody knows the story of Dracula. But I want to read it because, it's a classic, and Jen from Jen's Bookshelf told me it's one of her favorite classic books. So I wanted to read it for that reason, cover to cover, actually read it and analyze. But I also have a future project in the works that involves vampires, and I want to take a more traditional Gothic approach to vampires than what has been kind of in mainstream literature lately. I want to go back to that kind of darker, twisted soul vampire. So I'm going to read Dracula to kind of take some inspiration from that into my future work. And then I will probably get to Shadow and Bone by Lee Shadow and Bone. I started to watch the Netflix series, and then I was only a couple minutes into the first episode, and I decided, you know what, I really want to read the books, and I hear they're so different that I kind of want to read the book first so it can be my base for the whole series. So I have the first one, the Shadow and Bone trilogy. My bookstore carries them all, but I only walked out with this first one because as you can tell, I kind of have a bit to get to. So this one, I'm planning, it's on my TBR. I bet I get to this closer to December though than I do November. So those are all the books on my TBR, the things I'm planning to read next, not necessarily all in November. Writing. So of course, November is National Novel Writing Month, also known as NaNoWriMo, and I am participating. It is not going super, super well. I've only written at this time, at the end of October, I have written about a couple hundred words for my draft. My project for NaNoWriMo, if you haven't seen my announcement video, which is also here on YouTube, my project is the third book in the Guardians of the Sixth Gate series. I don't think I'm going to hit the 50,000 word goal at the end of November, but I do feel pretty good about the working outline I have and where the book's going. I'm pretty pleased with that. And I think I can get quite a bit of it written. I'm not stressing myself just because I'm already burnt out at work and I've got a lot on my plate. So I'm not stressing myself to hit all of those goals just because I don't want to do a messy job of it. I'd rather enjoy the process and feel like I'm doing a good job of it than just doing the job, period. So I am working on NaNoWriMo. Other writing goals for November. Going into November, I want to transition my website. So right now, My website, amyprokopis.com, is hosted on Bluehost. It's a WordPress site, and Bluehost is the hosting platform I use. It is really great, but it's not super beginner friendly. It's great if you know a lot of tech things and if you plan to do a lot of really techy things with your website. I do not. The most advanced thing that I've done on my website to date is all of my blog posts. And now that I'm so active here on YouTube, and I've got so many other things on my plate, I've looked at what I could cut or integrate in new ways and be more successful with some of my viewership and reaching out to you guys. And I'm finding that my views on the blog posts are low, and I've been doing them once a month. The blog post, just like this video, is a recap of the month. And so rather than do 2 versions of that, I decided to nix the blog post and put all of my effort into the videos. Yeah, so these videos will continue. The blog posts are going away, and I'm moving my website from Bluehost to the more user-friendly, that I've found anyway, Wix. So what I need to work on, I'm trying to get my domain name moved to Wix. I haven't started on that. I have an idea how to do that though. I just need to go about that process. And because I do own amyprokopis.com, and I'd really like my website to remain amyprokopis.com. So a lot of November's writing projects, aside from NaNoWriMo, are logistical business things like the website. I want to get the shop up and running on my website as well. I've already got a lot of this stuff done in the demo. So I do have the Wix website ready to go to hit publish. I just want to finalize all of those things and make sure the domain name is there. And aside from writing, publishing, I also want to increase some of my activity on Patreon. So I did get my first ever Patreon subscriber. Thank you, Byron. So I do have a Patreon subscriber, so I need to update my end of video tag. I also need to do more with my Patreon. I've been brainstorming things. I do like the monthly short story. I think that's super fun and doable, but I want to do some other things that are a little bit more engaging. I've thought about moving my live streams over to Patreon and doing monthly live streams there. I've also thought about doing like a monthly hangout on Zoom just to share my projects and where all things are. And I'm also planning to share some of my freebies, the things that I use for myself. I'm planning to share those in Patreon as well. So if you're interested in like seeing a lot more in depth into the numbers and my process, and not just that, but getting the actual tools that I use, then move over to Patreon. It's only $5 a month. And you can hang out with me over there. So I would be super appreciative to all of you that help support me in that way, because it helps fund some of my projects here on YouTube and some of the other fun things that I do. So that is, I think, all of my writing plans going into November. Running for November is pretty simple. I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing. I do not have any plans to run any races, and I don't really have plans to run races in 2023. So I'm not training for anything, but I do want to get back into distance running shape, maybe back up to 10K, not necessarily half marathon, but into that kind of middle ground between the two, and see how that goes. I don't think that I have the time to even half marathon train anymore because I'm juggling so much. I used to be able to do 1 half marathon a year between writing and my day job, but now the two of them have grown so much. I have more duties at my day job. I have more duties writing wise. I really don't think that I could dedicate to some of those long runs to do a half marathon at this point, but hopefully in the next couple years, as I can maybe transition to like a less stressful work environment, maybe I'd be able to. So right now, maintain is the name of the game. So I'll still be running, and I don't have any other running videos planned. I think that the one I did was super fun though, and maybe I'll do some other like physical challenges like that. So if you have suggestions or ideas, let me know in the comments about maybe running things you'd like to see. Any suggestions for any kind of videos, actually, put them down below in the comments because I like to hear them and I definitely take them into consideration. I put them all on a list and visit them when I'm starting to run low on ideas but feel like I have the time. So let me know. That's running, reading, and writing for this next month. That's everything. That's how October went. That's how I'm kind of planning ahead for November. So hopefully November goes well also. And thank you guys to all of you who have supported me, who have bought Guardians of the Six Gates, whether that be paperback, in person at my signing, or if you're reading on Kindle Unlimited. There are a lot of you reading on Kindle Unlimited, I noticed. So thank you so much. Make sure that you leave your reviews on Goodreads and Amazon's and wherever you buy books, because it helps me out a whole lot, gets this book out to people who might really enjoy it. So I greatly appreciate all of you guys and your feedback. So make sure that you're subscribed to this video because I post bookish content every single week and fun videos I try every week as well. And if you follow me on social media, I'm super easy to reach out to and interact with there. I'm really involved on TikTok and my Instagram. Be on the lookout for a website revamp super soon, coming in November. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!